Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Orlin, and I'm the community manager for Harbor. Today, we have our weekly community meeting, and it's official community meeting. So please follow the code of conduct. Today is July the 13th, and with that, I would like to kick off today's session. Um, Feel free to add all your topics or your attendance if you'd like to be listed there. I've just pasted in the channel, the chat, the link to the community meetings notes, and I'm gonna share now these notes if I can. I'm sorry, I just migrated to new Mac and things are not working. Uh, Evelyn, can you share please? I'm sorry, it's super
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I'm sharing one. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
everyone sees it.
Yeah. I think we have some new faces in the attendance. At least I'm not sure if I saw you before. James, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, yeah, I'm James. I've been, well, I work for IBM. I work for some of the IBM Cloud Packs, and we obviously do a lot with containers. And there's some interesting things going on with the registries that I'm interested in helping with. A lot of our customers will use Harbor for doing for managing their local registries alongside their Kubernetes clusters. So it's somewhere where I feel like I might be able to help make their lives easier. So I thought I'd come and get involved. The main issue I wanted to talk about is one there. I want to see if other people see that same problem, and if and find out if it's more of a community thing or whether it's just something that IBM hit.
Okay.
So hello everybody. Yeah, I've been doing mainly code in the distribution repository rather than directly in Harbor at the moment. But obviously Harbor is the front end that most of my customers see.
Nice.
Nice.
Welcome
Welcome.
to the club then. It's super nice
Welcome.
to have you on board. It will be great if you can contribute. And if you need anything from my side as a community manager or anything from the other maintainers, feel free to reach. We'll try to help you out as much as we can.
Thank
So,
you.
um, with that, I think you've added your topic second, but do you want to go and then we can not to like disturb the flow too much.
Sure, can do if that's what you want to do. Yeah, just bring it up. So there's quite a long description there, I think. Yeah, the basic issue behind all of this is at IBM we've gone heavily into using fact manifests, manifest lists, OCI indexes, whatever you want to call them, to make sure that we've got platform support for our containers. Obviously, IBM have a few different platforms. We've got Z and P, and as well as x86. So a lot of our software supports multiple platforms, and we wanted to use manifest lists to make sure that's easy, and make sure that when a world of cross-architecture clusters comes to pass, which I expect it will do more heavily at some point, that we're prepared for it. The other thing that we do is in order to enforce consistency and make sure that our applications and software are using exactly the images we want them to use, we reference all our images by digest. So all of our software running on Kubernetes is pointed at using the digest of the image so that we know exactly that is that version, and that it's kind of referenced by content. So that's exactly what we want to do. Unfortunately, that means we hit a little bit of a problem with mirroring. So a lot of our customers use restricted network environments where their clusters can't get directly to the internet, so they can't just pull the images from our main registry. So they want to mirror those images onto their registries. But because we're using reference by digest to point to a manifest list, they have to make sure that they copy that exact manifest list without any changes to their registry. The problem happens when we get a customer who says, well, I've only got x86 systems, or I've only got P systems. I don't want to have to mirror the Z and the x86 content, or whatever the other platforms are that they don't care about, because that kind of triples the amount of data they need to use. It triples the amount of images they need to scan, because a lot of the customers are scanning these images on their local registries before they put them in, to make sure that they're covering their vulnerability requirements for compliance and things like that. And they can't do it. And the reason they can't do it is because in the registry, it won't let you upload a manifest list if the images that manifest list refers to don't already exist in the registry. So I've gone in and I've made a PR already to the distribution code base that enables a configuration flag, which allows the user, the registry administrator, to say, actually, I don't want you to do that check. Accept a manifest list, whatever's in it, and then when the client tries to pull that manifest list, if their architecture isn't there, then it'll fail, right? And that's fine, right? That's what our customers actually want. And yeah, it hasn't been merged yet because, well, the distribution repo doesn't seem to have much active maintenance at the moment, which is another question that maybe you guys can talk about with me. But that's the situation I'm in at the moment. I just wanted to bring it to this meeting and say, well, is this something that IBM have got themselves into because of our use of fact manifests and digests, and other people are just solving this problem in a different way? Or is it something that other people have seen and care about as well?
Okay, let me try to rephrase it, in my words, to see if I understand it correctly. So the goal of IBM, or the PAC standard that you have, is to basically, or the conclusion basically is to only replicate certain platforms. Is it correct?
So we have customers who would like to, in their local mirrors, only have to mirror individual platforms rather than having to mirror all of the platforms that make up a manifest list. Yes.
Okay, so you would like to then, okay, so only mirror certain platforms, so you can, as a let's say, in a replication setting, you would only mirror certain platforms.
Yeah, but you would mirror, for example, the x86 image and maybe the P image, depending on if they've got two platforms, and the manifest list, right? Or the x86 image and the manifest list, but without the other platforms.
Okay. Seems legit to me. That makes sense. And why did you open this up at Docker distribution? Because I mean, if it's a replication topic, it does not address the distribution itself, because the distribution does not do any replication. Or does it need to have some changes on the distribution side to support that?
It's because the distribution. So from what I understand, and I could be entirely wrong here, Harbor uses the distribution repository as it's kind of core for when it kind of starts writing data to disk and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. We're wrapping the Docker distribution basically.
So what happens in Docker distribution is when you try and push a manifest list, it has a hard-coded check to make sure that the images in that list exist in the registry first, which means that it is currently impossible in distribution, and therefore I assume impossible in Harbor, to push a manifest list that doesn't have all of the platforms in existence.
Correct. So this would fail.
Yeah.
So that's what we're starting in distribution, and then after, if I can get that merged in distribution, I will probably come up to Harbor and have a look at the Harbor code and say, right, so how is Harbor configured? Because I don't know yet, and work out how to make sure that change is useful to Harbor customers, Harbor users.
Mm-hmm. And the contribution that you did to Crane or to Scopio, I think Scopio, right?
Yeah. So there was, at the time, there was no way really to mirror a manifest list without the client tooling attempting to copy all of the platforms first. So I made some extensions to Scopio to say, okay, well, let's add an option to Scopio that just says just copy the manifest list and don't copy any platform. So then you can just copy the platform images you want, so just x86, for example, and then copy the manifest list without Scopio trying to copy all of the child images. And those changes are all merged. So there is now tooling to be able to try and push a manifest list that doesn't have all of its child images into a registry. It's just at the moment, the distribution and Harbour registries wouldn't support it.
Okay, and then you're also trying to make this functionality also part of the open container spec, right? Because
Yes,
I think
so,
if it's in the open container spec, this will land in the distribution spec, and then
so interestingly, it kind of already was in the distribution spec. There's nothing in the distribution spec that says that a registry has to enforce the existence of child images before accepting a manifest list. There's some formatting changes. If you go to commits and just look at one commit. Oh no, is that?
Yeah, so is this one, the distribution spec that you created?
Oh yeah. Sorry, no, that is the right place, isn't it? Okay. So yeah, that underneath push there.
Yeah.
That second green addition, a registry may reject a manifest of type uploaded if it references manifests or blobs that do not. Right. So the only thing I was changing there was just to make it really explicit that it is not a requirement in the spec that you have to validate the existence of the references. Just to make sure that I don't think it would make sense to put into the spec a statement that said the registry has to be able to ignore the existence of references, because actually a lot of registries want to, and I don't think you would ever turn that option on something like Docker Hub, because actually in Docker Hub you want to make sure everything's there because it's going to be like a source rather than a mirror. But I just wanted to make sure it was explicit that it wasn't against the spec to not check, so that when I put the change in, nobody was going to say, oh, actually we can't do this because the spec says we can't. So yeah, that's one of the other changes I made, just to kind of clarify those things. Yeah.
Okay. And is this change accepted, or is it open?
Yes, that change is in the spec.
Oh yeah, it's in spec. Okay.
I had good discussions with the OCI team over the mailing list and things. So that went in fine. The Scopio changes are all in. I made some changes to the image library so that because a lot of tooling will use the container image library to pull images, and the error messages from that weren't great because they would just say, oh, I couldn't pull this, but not explain why. So I've gone in there, I've improved the errors so that if you try and pull an image and it finds a manifest list and then the platform doesn't exist in that manifest list, it will tell the user, hey, I found a manifest list, but your platform wasn't there, right? Just so they know what's going on rather than just, oh, it failed. So just to try and make sure that the ecosystem wasn't made any worse by making these kind of changes.
Okay.
So then the state that it's in at the moment is the distribution repository. The maintainers in there haven't really engaged with it. So I wanted to find out if other people had the same problem, because that might help with engagement. And yeah, if anyone here has any advice on how to help. Useful, but...
Yes, I have not the feeling, but my view or my perception is similar to yours. So that the Docker distribution is a kind of a slow-moving project, or was a slow-moving project. I think they promised to increase the velocity and they're planning for the 3.0 release, but generally they are slow-moving, and I don't know how to improve this.
Okay, well, I'm continuing to work with. I'm looking at other issues in their repositories and trying to be more involved. And hopefully that will help. But we'll see.
I mean, what we do at Harbour is that when we see some functionality that is relevant to our community or the product at Harbour, we explicitly merge in patches, that are upstream, or patches that are planned or proposed that are maybe not merged but not released, or not released or not merged. We merge them in. So there are a few patches that we already use. One is the 10 gigabyte limit that is there. We now accepted it. This will be part of 2.6, and there is also some other Redis related patches that we apply for a Harbor project on the Docker distribution, because we're building Docker distribution ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So is that something that I could propose here then? How would I go about doing that? Is there a...
Well, it should be in the Docker distribution as a merge request first, and then we can use this patch that you propose for the Docker distribution and put it in Harbor, and in the Docker distribution that we compile in Harbor. This would be the process if you would like to have it before it's in the Docker distribution.
I'd be interested in looking at that because it's been open in Docker distribution since I think about September, and it hasn't gone anywhere. So it will be if there's something I can start there to help, that would be good.
Yeah. You could take a look at the process. Is quite easy. You open a pull request and like take a look at this one, for example, with 10 gigabyte, which is basically a similar pull request. So it's basically add the builder, extend the builder, add another patch. Like this is the patch 2815 for the 10 gigabyte, and then you just add it and open up the pull request, and then we'll see if we can merge it. And
I'm gonna have one more go at trying to engage the maintainer of the distribution first, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll give this a go.
Yeah, and then we can do it on the front end.
Hi James. I actually did not get chance to discuss your proposal with other maintainers. I mean the distribution maintainers. And actually, from my point of view, it's not a high priority for us. I mean the distribution maintainer. We have to discuss the behavior. This is the fundamental behavior change, right? But yeah, I will follow up this, and then I will talk to another maintainers from a distribution group to discuss about them with the change to, I mean, whether to validate the existence of the reference, I mean the index reference images. Yeah. So
yeah, that would be great. I want as many opinions as possible. So I mean, I'm not trying to push something that doesn't make sense to the community. I'm trying to do this in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and any help you can offer would be awesome.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, because it would be bad if this PR is rejected by the distribution and is there in Harbor, right? So this will be provide a lot of problems for the project.
Yes, I'd rather do it the right way and get it into distribution. So if we can do that, that's
I mean, what we can do is, I think this is, if it's already kind of, let's say it's merged into the master, but the master is not released, because they do it quite often. They merge things into master, but they don't release the master yet. And this is something where we could, yeah, exactly. So this is something that the same would happen here for the 10 gigabyte, because we know this 10 gigabyte patch will be in the next release, and that's why we kind of already fetched it now, because it will be one day, it will be there. And if it's the same for this functionality, I think chances are higher to accept it from our side as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if I'd need to try and get it backported as well once it got merged into 284 or something, but yeah, either way.
No, so for 2.8, we I mean the distribution release for the 2.8, we only merged for the security patch or security fix. And for your proposal or PR, if it will be in if it is merged in future in the main release, and it will eventually in the 3.0 release, and we are planning for the 3.0 release for some changes, but actually we do not have any exactly due date for 3.0. And Harbor will then use that build to package Harbor release. I mean, so given it merged into the main branch, the harbor still cannot consume it because it is not in any major release of distribution. I mean, 2.8
Yeah,
or
no, I understand.
3.0.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you for the input, James.
Thank you for the suggestions.
Should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I think you can go next, and then I have a few more.
Okay, so let's look at this topic. And I found out recently that the project called Harbor Terraform Provider is from Bestseller company. They've been maintaining and supporting this Terraform provider for quite some time, and now they stopped using Harbor and also stopped using, supporting, and developing the Terraform provider. And I would like to note that this provider is quite often used within the community of Harbor. So there's a lot of community members using this project, and I would like to discuss if there is someone from the community who would like to take over this project, or the other option is if we could kind of inner source this project as part of Harbor, and get some maintainers that will try to maintain this project under the umbrella of Harbor. But we still need to find some contributors. There are currently 34 contributors registered. Maybe some of them will continue contributing it if it's under the umbrella of Harbor. But from Harbor side, we need to then probably automate a few things and make it work. But yeah, so I'm trying to open discussion if there is someone interested in contributing and maintaining this project, and secondly, if this should be under the umbrella of the project Harbor.
Do we know how many issues they get?
Do
we know how many issues they get? Is it a high maintenance project, or is it kind of fairly stable?
I think it's, I don't know. I mean, there's like 100 issues since its beginning.
Yeah.
So it's not that many issues so far.
Not a big overhead.
Yeah. So, and they have 70 releases. So it seems like they have been constantly releasing new functionality once in a while, adapting to Harbor. So,
do we know why they stopped contributing and maintaining it?
Because they're not using Harbor anymore. That'd be an interesting question too. Why aren't they using Harbor anymore?
Yeah, that's the next question. And do you think we will have some direct benefit from it as a community and a project? I mean, if we support this one.
I know. I think the point is that a lot of Harbor users are using this project. So there's a lot of Harbor users are actually using this product, using this functionality, and because it's heavily used, I think it's would be valuable for the project to continue maintaining it.
So there is the option of just saying, well, there's no point having it sitting in the bestseller organization, move it to the Harbor organization, and still leave it as this isn't actively maintained and we're looking for someone who can take ownership, right?
Yeah.
So then if someone wants to take over, then they can take over in the CNCF project rather than than outside of it.
I was going to
just because you adopt it into your organization doesn't mean you have to maintain it.
Yeah, and the chance that we'll find someone from our community to maintain it is bigger than if it's there. So
yes.
what I can do, I can reach out to the current contributors or maintainers, and if they're willing to transfer that, I think we have to check with Roger as well, if that fits in under the umbrella of the overall project. But I think we definitely can do that.
Mhm.
So from communication standpoint of view, I can drive this one for sure,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
see how we can migrate it and then get it running.
Here's the issue. I'm pasting the issue with. Where's the issue? So here's the issue that is related to this one, and I think you should talk to Lasse Gardshold. Yeah, I think it's Lasse, and
Yeah.
maybe Brett Wright is. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna open an issue here maybe, or try to contact someone from
Yeah.
the team.
And I think they're also on the Slack channel of Harbor.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Okay. Let's move this then forward and see how this is moving. So from my side, I'm done on the topics. All in.
Okay. Yeah, I have a few topics, and one of them, the first one is the proposal from Roger for the feature lifecycle and deprecation was merged. So please, everyone, take a look, because we will start implementing that as a process. So get acquainted with the information there, how we're gonna introduce new features and how we're gonna deprecate old features that are not needed anymore. And if you still have some issues with the proposal and you want to improve the process somehow, feel free, if you haven't done it so far.
I think you might want to rename that to .md so that
Yeah, I noticed that.
Just missing the extension, I think, is the only problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So yeah, just everyone take a look and be aware of the process and the document. What else? Vadim, can I open the list? I'm gonna
Yes.
approve that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a question about the new release 253. We released it like almost like 2 weeks right after 252, because of some CVEs found, right? My question here is like purely from curiosity, why we didn't catch the CVEs and the issues in the 252? Like, did we have something that we missed, or it was like a process thing, or it's more technical that came out in between?
You mean we didn't add the CV information in the release note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is the processing. Roger is actually drafting for that, and the process is we should firstly release the patch, then public the information. So yeah, so now Roger is drafting for that, and we probably can public out of them by the end of the week, this week.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know the story behind it. Okay. Next one, I think I've added the Kubcon Talks. It's still too early to get the responses, so I think something like mid-August will be the date for if our talks are accepted. My ask here is if you can just keep us all up to date with if if your talk is accepted or not, so we can start planning accordingly. And also, I think Jan, you submitted the maintainers track for Kubcon Detroit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to keep track on this one as well, because I think this time it will be huge, and I think if we can make the maintainers track in person, will be great. Most probably I'll be there. Depends on my talks and my other activities there. So I personally think we should aim for in-person talks and in-person maintainers track. So whenever we have all the answers to the question, are our talks accepted or not, we can discuss that again. I just wanted to bring that topic up so we can keep in mind to do like the necessary talks with our management. Depends on the country and company. If we can be all there and do the things in person. So next thing is the maintenance attention to the repository. It's something that practically I'm going to bring every single time from now on. So we need to improve the maintenance attention to PRs and issues in the repository. So it's again ask from my side. Please follow the repository and be nice to new contributors. Respond timely to PRs and issues, so we can be welcoming community to the new folks. Why you delay my topic?
No, I'm extending.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's just be mindful for the folks that actually spend their time, like James, to contribute to our project and respond in time. Please follow the repository for new PRs, new issues, and let's be good citizens of the CNCF landscape. And Vadim, what was that? Clean branches?
Clean branches. My other topic, because it's related. So the thing is that if we take a look at the harbor, the project, I see, look, we have really a lot of branches, and I think it is quite confusing to have so many branches, and I think we should not have that many branches. You know, there's so many stale branches. Look how many we have. So it's really a lot. And except you know, kind of this bug fix branches that we have, you know, we should not have all other branches. You know, like this. You know, this PR branch that's 5 years ago, or nightly test build. You know what? I think we should, if we do contributions, we should not do contributions on the Harbor repository. So we should have an own fork of Harbor and then create a PR to this to main Harbor. And there is a GitHub action that synchronizes your private Harbor fork with the main one. You know, so we could keep it up to date. But we should not open up, you know, branches or outside in Harbor, and we should clean up a lot of those branches because they're, yeah.
Vadim, correct me, but I thought everyone is doing it like this. Obviously, that's not the case. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure if it's always the case, right? Say.
Okay. But for sure,
because sometimes the branches are made, you know, from within the repo, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think we can take a look at some GitHub actions to clean up this one, like old stale branches, which we don't need. Of course, not the release branches and stuff, but yeah. I think we can open issue for this one and discuss it there. How are we gonna approach this one? And if someone is not forking the repository and making the PRs from its own fork, I think we should change that like in procedural way how people contribute. But I'm super unprepared to answer that question right now if we have it in the contribution. Maybe we have James, have you read that? I mean, because obviously you're trying to contribute now. So is that in the documentation about contributing? I cannot bring that up right now.
I haven't looked closely at writing code for Harbor. I've only looked at distributions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, for Harbor, I cannot remember if we have it in the contributions documentation, but if we don't, I'll add it for sure and open a PR for this one.
If we
Okay.
have, you can got it in the root folder of Harbor repository. We have a contributing.md
Yeah.
file
Yeah,
to describe how to. Yep.
I think it was listed like create a fork and do this and do that, add the remote and whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, fork repository. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, we probably can have. Yeah. We probably can have a Git action to remove this unused branches. Yeah.
Yes, I'd assume most people don't have access to create branches in the.
Yeah.
In the main
So actually, these branches was all created by the maintainers, I believe.
Yeah.
They're like the old branches back in the VMware days, and they were just migrated.
Yes.
But anyway, I think if we have like
some of them.
Yeah, I think if we have like a feature branch, which is 5 years old, definitely we don't need it anymore, right? I mean, it's
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, agreed. I agree.
yeah. Okay, so let's park this one and we can take a look for some GitHub action that we can take a look at and automate that a bit. But
yeah, so actually no one beside the maintainer group has permission to create branch. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we
So
have
no
to make
worry
sure
about
that
that.
all maintainers are using forks and
Yes.
creating new branches for feature. Okay, I'll drop a line to about that in the maintainers mailing list, so we can make sure that everyone is following the same procedure. Okay, cool. And the last one for today that I have is, maybe you saw that we have decreased the stale issues by almost 30 to 35%. So from almost 1,000 issues, now we have 640 ish, which came out to be an issue for some folks around, that we were like, say, how should I say that, closing stale issues too aggressively. So I tuned a bit the stale action. So we have now the grace period is 60 days, and then 30 days prior closure. So practically we have 3 months issue to stale, which is more than enough. Someone to respond or to look for feedback, I think. So overall, I think the stale right now is working fine, and that's a good and healthy amount of issues that we have active, and that will be. If someone else finds that as an issue, that we reduce so much issues, but I think it's a good thing because we closed issues that were like 3 years old, and I'm pretty sure whoever opens an issue 3 years ago, they don't have that issue anymore. So yeah.
Sometimes that's true.
Yeah. Okay, it's not like 100% true always, right? But yeah, but still, I mean, the project is like community driven, so we cannot answer any all the issues are there always, so something can slip. But yeah, so if you find that is a issue that we have reduced so much, and if you think that the stale action right now is too aggressive, just bring that topic up and we can tune it again. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything from my side. Was that Vadim?
Okay, no, I just pasted a link to an issue that came up today, which seems to be a bug in the in the pagination. There's a pagination bug, so maybe we should take a look at this one and see if we can provide this as a 2.6. Maybe you can take a look at this one. So if you're as maintainers can take a look at this one, I think it's a bug. Okay. Then yeah, I have no topics from my side.
Good. Anyone else?
Well, I have something for 2.6. We are reaching to the FC stage, and that is the July 15th. And we decided to delay 2 weeks for GA, and now the planned GA date is moved to August 15th.
Why we decided to delay the release?
Because we spent 2 weeks to on the urgent critical security issues fixing.
For
So
2.3.
yeah, 2.5, 2.5.2 and 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. By the way, that's a good like transition to another question. Anyone is having like a planned summer vacations for the next months? Because it's like in Europe at least, it's the summer time. So folks like me, I'm gonna be off August and half of September. So maybe we can add that so we have right expectations of who is online and what kind of response we can have from the maintenance team.
So I will not be there next community meeting from my side. I'm on vacation.
That's in 2 weeks, right? Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Mhm.
The week after I'll be there.
Okay. Yeah. So that's an overall question for the audience. If someone can take the community meetings for August and half of September, it would be great. Won't be having so much access to internet, so I'm not sure if I can lead these meetings. If it's not that I'm leading right now, though, thank you, Vadim, but I migrated to the new Mac and it's not working. Okay.
Okay, so I would say if there's no other topics or questions,
Yep.
Then we are done for today.
Thank you. Just one thing, Vadim, you'll be online during the release of this 2.6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jan, can you please work with Vadim on that release? I mean, in the actual release thing? Yeah. Because we still have that in our agenda that we should release in the non-VMware way. And Vadim is like the perfect choice for, yeah. And after that release, after the summer vacations and all the absences, we should work forward the GitHub release cycle and processes. Just FYI, and if we can, yeah, include Vadim into that release, would be super fantastic.
Okay, yeah, happy to help.
Yep, great. Thank you. So yeah, that's everything from my side as well. Anyone else? No. Okay. Have a great
Thank
rest
you,
of the
everyone.
day. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.